A pretty handy little gadget that I came across here about a month ago was this little water gauge that I'm able to use on my fifth wheel camper when I'm filling up my fresh water tank on the campgrounds. Like most of us, when we get there, we usually get to the fill station, we turn the water on, and then we just watch the gauge on the inside of the camper. A little bit more accurate way that I've come across was if you use one of these little gauges, like this one made by RESTMO, you can monitor not only how many gallons per minute you're putting into the camper from the fill station you're at, but you can also see how many gallons you've put into your fresh water. So for my example here, I've got a 55-gallon fresh water tank, and that little gauge on the inside, while it's pretty handy to have when you're on the campground set up and ready to go, it doesn't always update the fastest, and I've had a couple situations where I've overfilled my fresh water tank until I got this little dude right here. When I usually get to the campground, I'm running on empty anyways, so I know that once I get to that 53 to 54 gallon mark, I need to go ahead and get that thing shut off, and that puts me at the sweet spot every time. Now this little gauge is pretty easy to use. Essentially, you just hook it to your hose on the one end, you hook it to your fill port, wherever that is on your camper. Once you hit your button here, you'll see that you've got a display. You can actually measure this in gallons and or liters depending on how you want to measure that and where you guys live, whether it be US or Canada. Now what's cool about this, as I mentioned, is you can see the lifetime of gallons you've put through this little gauge here. You can reset the gauge by holding down on the button here, set it to 0 every single time, which is how I use this. You do have that flow through rate as well if you decide you want to use that. It's pretty neat because you can see how many gallons per minute you're flowing. And I've got an example. So basically when I was using the hose here at the house to fill up my fresh water tank, I'm seeing around 2.5 to 3 gallons per minute. When I switch off the camper and I've hooked up just like my regular spray nozzle, I'm getting around 3.5, almost 4 gallons per minute. So you can see the difference in variation, even though I'm using the same water source, just based on whether you use the plumbing here on the camper or that nozzle. And there's other applications other than just the camping world that you'd use this little gauge here. You can literally just go anywhere you've got a water source and you're just curious how many gallons of water you're throwing through a sprinkler system or the water nozzle itself. If you need to have a precise amount of water you're putting on something, this little gauge is pretty handy to have on hand. And the nice thing about it is they don't break the bank at the same time. So check out this little one made by RESTMO. See if this might fit the bill for you. Been a nice little addition to have here on my camper. Appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. We'll catch you guys on the next one.